We should be live.
Yes.
Hello. We already got a comment before we actually started, which was why I was scared that they could hear my gossip. So hello. In any case, before we get into all of everything, welcome to DesertAthon 2021. I am so excited to be doing this again. I thank you guys so much for all of the love, support, all that kind of stuff. And before we get into anything else, I would like to talk a bit about, well, I want you guys to introduce yourself. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows you already, but, you know. Anybody who wants to take first? I mean, Femke, we already, that side. Femke, we already know, who's my partner in crime, who's almost always here. But you guys might not know Mollie or Caitlin, so go ahead.
There's always this like awkward start.
Yeah.
All right,
you go.
Okay. All right. I'm also being approached by a small cat. So if you see a kitten, his name is Erwin, but I'm Caitlin E. And I have a channel called The Lit Review. And I just pulled my first DesertAthon book this morning and did the roll. So I'm really excited to be doing sprints this morning with all of you.
I'm so excited to see what you're reading, by the way.
Yes. Well, I'll happily tell you as soon as I get to hear all about Mollie.
Yes. I'm not that exciting.
You're definitely that excited. Come on.
My name's Mollie from Mind and Mollie. I'm just here to have a good time. And I'm reading this.
Ooh.
My cat picked it.
That is a good thing.
Those are the best picks, though. I tried doing that with my dog. It didn't work.
Oh.
I cannot see Dex doing this, to be honest.
It doesn't
He would
work.
rip the book apart.
No, I put like cookies on top of like treats, not cookies. I mean, cookies something else. I mean, treats on top of all the books, and he just ate them all. It didn't work.
My
Read
cat,
everything.
honestly, she was so cute. Like, you'll watch it because I'm doing like a vlog where like my cat picks my books.
So
And
excited
like
for that.
she would like eat one and then like look at me as if to be like, "Can I have the others?"
Oh, that is so cute. By the way, for anybody else who is wondering, all of your links are in the description box. So if you guys want to check out any of these lovely ladies, then you can. All of our links, so Femke and my links, are also down there, but you already know me if you're here, so, or at least I think so. Also, I have to start with this one because I completely agree on this one.
Like, is your cat called Rosie?
Yeah.
I figured
There
from
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I was very confused about who Rosie is. But
Yeah. No, that is my sweet angel.
So cute. There's people saying hi as well.
Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
Hello, Brooke. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. What are you doing? There's also a cat. Like, my laptop is standing on top of a thing, and Nina decided to sleep underneath that. So if you hear anything, that's Nina. Okay, so what are you guys reading? Well, we
You
know
already know what I'm reading. I'll show
How
you.
far are you into it, by the way?
I haven't started it yet. I'm starting it now.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that a meowing I hear?
You do. He's very talkative. He's like, come here.
I
Come
saw
here.
this.
You're gonna make your live debut, little dude. Come here.
Hey.
Hi. He's feisty this morning, so he's like trying to play with me, but he's like 6 months old. He's my little buddy.
A little baby.
Yeah.
He's
Hi.
very much like, let me go.
Yeah. But he's also like sprawled in the rest of my arms, like you can kind of just see.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, fair. Yeah.
All right. You could be free. But you had to say hi.
more highs, by the way.
Hi. Hello.
Everyone. So, Caitlin, what are you reading?
So I got like a 3, and then that put me to 8. And then I rolled again and ended up with the prompt about needing to read something with a type of magic. So I'm gonna I tracked down Aleph the Unseen by G. Willow Wilson, and I found it. It's like a hacker meets genie kind of like modern twist. And G. Willow Wilson is the writer of like the Miss Marvel comic series. And so I kind of wanted to give her fiction, or like adult fiction, a try.
That sounds amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking it up now.
Yes, you can see it live when you recommend books. What happens to book nerds who are just like, "Ooh, really? What's that?"
Ooh, yeah. I remember I was watching a Polarthon reading sprint, and at one point they were talking about The Wolf in the Water, which apparently there's like a million different editions from, and everybody was just Googling which one they had and where it came from. Was it the US? Was it UK? It was so much fun. That said, I think that Femke and I are reading the same thing as usual.
I mean, potentially, yes.
I mean, I have it on my e-reader, but it's the same book, so
yeah.
yeah.
It doesn't look like the same book. This is a bind-up of like the first and the second book, and that's the title of the first book.
Yeah, I put it in my name just to, you know, I thought it would be easier.
It says so here, like it is the Assassin's Curse.
But I have options.
You came
I
prepared.
nearly finished this one, which is an audiobook, which is The Star-Touched Queen. But I am not so sure what I think about it, honestly.
I remember being like, Esmay, tell me what you think about it. But also, like, no worries. I know everybody has really polarized feelings on this book. They either love her prose or they're not for it.
Like, I'm not hating it. I am just very confused. I don't know what is going on. So it's fine. I'll finish the audiobook so much more and I'll let you know what I think on it. So I'll just continue The Assassin's Curse first. But what are you guys? I see one that I love. Oh, I love the Kiss of Deception. Have you guys read The Kiss of Deception?
Yes. But you know that.
Yeah, I know it, but I don't
read it. It's so good. It's basically like this story about a princess that basically runs away from a marriage, and then both an assassin and the prince she was supposed to marry follow her. You don't know who's who. It's so much fun. Oh, I see another favorite, actually.
So good.
I love the Wayward Children series.
I just got the first book and I'm really excited. Esmay, like you can choose that for me because I have it now. So you can recommend me the first book if I roll again this month.
I will. I will do that. Ooh, The Gilded Ones. I really want to read this one.
Me too.
Have you guys read this one yet?
No, I haven't.
I feel like I'm so behind on all the new releases, or is it just me?
I can like see it from where I'm sitting. It's on my desk, and I'm like, yes, The Gilded Ones. It's a gorgeous cover. I want to get to it so soon. Yeah. So you're gonna have to like let us know how it's going as we all do sprints together.
Yeah.
Yes. Ooh, I also love this one. Girls with Paper and Fire. It's so good.
Yes.
I also read the second one and I sobbed my eyes out.
I was there. I was there. She did.
I'm reading that this month too.
It was also like once you read it, just I'll let you know why, because it's not necessarily because of a lot of things in the book. It was just something personal that like hit me really hard, and I was just sitting there going, okay, I'm fine. Oh, I feel like a lot of people are reading We Hunt the Flame for DesertAthon this year. I've seen it on a lot of TBRs.
Yeah, same. I mean, I have the sequel on my TBR, so.
Yeah, that's because of me. I read both of them. Like, if there's only I would say 3. If there's only 3 Desert Vibe books that I can recommend, then we all know that it's going to be We Hunt the Flames, City of Brass, and of course, The Wrath from the Dawn.
These are so good.
Yeah. Can't complain.
So good.
I still need to read the sequel to We Hunt the Flame, though. Like, it's something I just bought because I only allow myself to buy books when I beat my board game. And so, like, this past month, I went a little too far. Anybody who knows me is not surprised by this. But, like, I'm afraid to count. I'm afraid to count how many books I actually bought in April. But I know one of them was We Free the Stars.
Well, that's a good purchase, though. I absolutely love that book. One of our, like, Femke, my friends, Sari, is actually reading it, and she literally texted me, and she said, I'm on chapter 10, and I'm already crying. I hate you. I mean...
Yeah, and I still have it, like, on my TBR for this month. So, I mean, Esmay cried. Now I know Sari cried. So I'm scared.
Sorry. It's, like, you'll be sad, but you'll be very happy about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll be sobbing on the floor, probably.
Oh, bring some tissues. Just like prep yourself, you know, build like a little station. Does anybody else do that? Because if I think I'm going to cry, I'm like, okay, let me get my tissue box and maybe like some side chocolate to help me through, you know? Exactly. Exactly.
I just
love
want
how Mollie
to
is
sit
always
down
prepared.
under my blankets on the bed and just like sit down.
I'm an emotional reader. Like, I cry so much at books. I always need them, like,
Yeah, me too.
in reaching distance.
You would think that after all the years of me crying over books, I would actually learn something and be prepared for crying. I just never am, and I'm a sobbing mess, and I just, I just take it all in. Let me see. I don't know this one. Is it good? Let me know how you guys are enjoying it. I love meows in the background.
Yes. Oh. I was gonna say sorry.
No.
It's all good, but he's because he's so little, he's like still very much in his explore stage. So any time he can't get somewhere, he gets really frustrated and meows very loud.
Also, I completely agree with this one.
Thanks. I feel like my voice is really annoying, but thank you.
No.
I feel like we feel that way about all of our own voices.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I agree with that one. Very soothing.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna need to dip out for a second. I'm just gonna put my thing down. He found a battery, and I now need to like chase down my cat and make sure he doesn't try to eat it. Hold, please.
But you can go save the cat. Go save the cat. Oh no.
Buddy, why?
Yeah.
I agree with this one. Some side chocolate next to the main chocolate. That's a good one.
Yeah. I'm also excited about the book Anya will be reading. It's like 3 months above.
There it is. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this book. I mean, I don't have it, but I saw it and I was like, this looks exciting.
I hadn't heard about it, which is strange because I've heard about most, DesertAThon books.
The only reason I heard about it is because it was like a Goldsboro Science Fiction Fantasy Fellowship pick. I think it was like October or November or something.
Fair. Also, I'm very, very curious. How far are you into the Unbroken? Because I actually got the Illumicrate monthly edition, and I mean, looking at the cover, I was thinking, okay, it's desert vibed, so I might read it this month if there's time. So I'm very curious to see what you think about it. She's 50 pages in. So far, so good. It's maybe in another life. Oh. Well, starting with the wild card is the best way to go. I feel like the board is nice to some people and then just a complete asshole to others.
Yeah, I think Lauren got like 16 or 17 books.
Yes. She showed me a picture. She sent a picture, and it was literally like it was filled to the brim with books. And she literally told me, "I'm not even sure I'm gonna start."
Yeah.
If you start The Unbroken, do let us know what you think. I mean, we're gonna start reading in a bit anyway, so let us know what you think first. First impressions. Yeah. For some people, they need a D20 because they keep rolling so low, and for others, they need something else. So yeah, at first I said, use a regular dice, but I thought, that might not be very, nice for people who don't read that fast. So use whatever dice you need. Otherwise, just pick a prompt. If you find a prompt exciting, just pick a prompt. It's fine. As long as we're reading books and having fun, right? I think that's the most important thing.
Exactly.
At least that's what I think. Also, something before we go into everything, around 8, I'm gonna pop off a little bit to, well, also take care of the cat who needs her daily insulin. But I mean, I'm joined by other lovely people, so if we're not in a sprint, then they can cover for me. I hope.
No, we got you.
Probably.
Yeah.
Should be fine.
I find it, yeah, it's evening for me, but for you, it's morning, Caitlin.
Yep, it is. It is like 10 a.m. ish.
You can definitely roll as you go. You can basically either make your entire TBR up front, because I saw people do that. You can roll as you go, or you can, as I did, do a couple of rolls, have a little bit of a TBR, and then once you finish them, roll again. I'm going to break that rule already because I no longer have an audiobook, and if I finish my audiobook, so I'm going to roll again and get an audiobook. But yeah, just whatever suits you, go for it. It should be fine. I am not very strict. As long as you guys read some kind of Desert Vibe book, I'm okay with it. Preferably The Wrath and the Dawn, We Hunt the Flame, or City of Brass. So I'm never going to shut up about it. I'm so sorry.
No, why should you? I mean, when you find a good book, that's the whole point. You want to tell everybody how good the book is.
Hence DesertAthon, because all of the best books are Desert Vibe, in my opinion. Is Unravel Me, is that the third book?
Second.
Yeah. Is that the third one? Oh, second. I read the first 3. I just... Yeah. I wasn't the biggest fan of them, but I hope that you're loving them. Yeah. D20's fine. Good luck on exams, by the way. Exams are hard.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you can finish your April TBR today, and then, get into May's TBR. I feel like our TBRs are always haunting us.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that so hard. There have been books that I've put on TBRs, and I haven't gotten to them, and then I keep putting them on TBRs and putting them on TBRs. Like, the optimism in me is so strong. I'm like, I'm going to get to it, and then no.
I had that in April when I put like 9 books on my TBR and I read a grand total of 3. So it wasn't a very big success, but I mean, it's fine. I mean, this is another month and I already finished about like 1.5 books. So I'm hoping May's going to be better.
Love that.
Should be fine. We're reading together, so.
Yes. Also,
yes. An Ember in the Ashes is definitely a Desert Vibe book. And if you're interested, there's also a read-along that I'm currently hosting with 3 lovely other people on YouTube. So that's a perfect combination. But yes, it's definitely a Desert Vibe book.
That was actually the book I finished, so.
I mean, is it a surprise that I've already reread The Wrath of the Dawn yesterday?
No.
Yeah.
I think the biggest surprise is that you haven't reread The Rose and the Dagger yet.
Yeah, but that's because I'm saving that one for somewhere at the end of the month when the Breath of the Wild readathon rolls around. Because I can finish that easily and I can fit it into pretty much every prompt. But yeah. Okay, so we've been nearly talking for 20 minutes. Shall we start a sprint?
Yes.
Sounds good.
How long should we... Did I just see a cat jump or what? Oh, I thought
no,
I saw
this is my iPad likely. Yeah. No, I closed the door. I was like, Bud, you can't be in here. While I'm doing this. You're super distracting. And he's gonna get into everything because I moved a bunch of stuff off the bed so that I could chill here.
Oh no. What should we do? 20, 25 minutes, something along those lines, or longer?
I don't mind.
Someone's saying 30. Shall we do 30 then? Sounds fine.
I'm fine with anything.
Me too. I mean, I'm gonna have to read anyway, so. I think this one is meant for you, Caitlin. I think you missed the other comment. Because Anya also said, like, so that's nice, side chocolate to go with the main chocolate.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, you're a hero. Main chocolate and side chocolate? I love it.
I have strawberry, so does that count?
Yeah, sweets totally count.
right? Yeah.
I mean, I'll be getting my pizza from downstairs because it just arrived, basically.
Ooh.
Oh, that's also nice.
So
Also, yes. Also, don't. Puppies are very destructive.
yeah, I'm so glad Dex didn't really have that destructive of a face, except for chewing on my cables and only my cables.
I remember that phase.
Like he
It was
nearly. I mean, I'm not sure if you can see it very well. That's just the one spot. I mean, there's more.
Oh my
dear.
gosh.
And I literally just had this laptop just like a couple months at that point, so I was like, no. And
Well,
he
as
also
long as
destroyed my e-reader cable.
Ooh.
It was like literally just my cables though. He didn't touch my mom's cables or my dad's cables. It's like my cables.
I mean, Coda actually chewed through our sort of. We had like a water fountain for the cats. Coda is our, I think he's like 7 months now, 7 months old kitten, and he loves destroying basically everything from your fingers to cables. And he actually chewed right through our sort of water fountain thing, and we can no longer use it. So we now have a new one.
Yeah.
It was a disaster. Also, apparently, more cats doing this.
Yeah. It's like they're selectively destructive, I suppose.
Yep. Erwin left some teeth marks in my work laptop, so I was like, well, when I eventually have to return this, I'm going to have to explain the fact that it looks like a tiny werewolf attacked this, this laptop.
That reminds me. Do you know that meme of like people buying new books and then someone outside of the door asking like, "What are you doing in there?" And then people hiding their books. Drugs. It's like that meme. Like, what were you doing with it? It was a vampire.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like a small werewolf, don't worry about it. I'm good. He's friendly.
Also, bunnies eating cables. We're not the only ones struggling. That's nice.
Cables are a pet favorite, apparently.
Yeah.
Tasty,
Also, I
tasty
think
cables.
this might be the name. I mean, I know this probably is pronounced as Damon, but if you play Dungeons and Dragons, then it's Demon. So he fits his name well then.
No.
All right, I will put up a counter before we continue talking. And
There's a map in my book, and I'm just trying to study it. Does anybody else do that when they're reading? When there's a map, I'm like, okay, I have to start
Yes.
mentally picturing everything.
Yeah.
it is so nice.
And I also have that, like, when I know there's a map, but then I won't look at it and just picture everything in my head, and then look at the map, and it's like, right, it's not where I thought it was like, at all.
Do you also sometimes just don't even see that there's a map, and then at the end I'm like, how is this situated? How is this land? How has it come about? And then you finish the book and you realize, oh, there's a map and a glossary and how to pronounce things.
And I just
Because I
sped
do
right
that
through
all the
it.
time. I do that all the time, and it's so bad. I think, was it City of Brass that had like I don't know, like 20-page long glossary, which I realized after I finished the book.
I think so.
Yeah, I do that all the time. In any case, shall I just start the timer?
Yes.
We all ready? Everybody cuddled up with either fruits or chocolate, and main chocolate, side chocolate, whatever. All right, see you in 30 minutes. Hello? I didn't want to scream, otherwise people might be scared of me. Apparently there was no sound on the timer, I'm sorry. In any case, how did it go for you guys?
Went okay. I mean, I ate, so I had to run downstairs to get food a couple times because it's pizza and my plate's not big enough to hold an entire pizza. So I read about like 25-ish pages, I think.
Me too. I got like 24 pages in on my book. Not a bad start.
Did
How is
you
it
just
so far?
start it?
What? Sorry.
I asked.
I wanted to say I'll pop off. I'll be back in like 5-ish minutes.
Okay, so I asked if you just started it, and Esmay asked how it was so far.
Gotcha. Yes, I did just start it, and so far it's been interesting. It's a lot of setting up for the world building and getting to know our main character, who's this hacker, and it's interesting because it's set in a place called the City, and it's very deliberately not going off of an actual place, but you're just supposed to know that it's somewhere in the Middle East.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. That sounds pretty intriguing.
So far I'm liking it, but I'm only on like prologue and chapter 1, so we'll see.
Fair enough.
I got like 60 pages read. But the font's really big and it's a middle grade, so
That tends to help, yeah.
like it's huge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for this one, it's actually, considering it's YA, I think this is actually like pretty small. Wow, I have to do this in mirror image. It's like for YA, it's pretty small, but it's fine. Okay, so I see some more people joined in the comments. I mean, I can't show them on screen, but I don't have that kind of control. But hello for the people who joined.
yes.
Oh, and we had asked a reading warrior for updates on Gilded Ones, and the response is good. Page 73 of Gilded Ones, and I am enjoying it. A bit dark, but I like it. Good to
Yeah,
know.
I heard that before, that it's pretty dark and like grim, especially considering it's YA. But yeah, I have heard some like conflicting things. Some people really like it and other people really don't. So I feel like it's like love it or hate it kind of book.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm honestly really curious about it.
Me too. I like reading divisive books because then it's like I get to form my own opinion and be part of the conversation. I always get super nervous actually when books are really, really hyped up where everybody seems to love it.
Me too.
Because I'm convinced that I'm such a little contrarian that I'm gonna hate it.
I'm the person that hates it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and then I have to I feel like I have to then convince everybody that I'm not hysterical or something for not liking the book.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by Victoria Schwab was like my #1 most anticipated release of last year, and it took me like 6 months to actually get to it, and I didn't love it. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I was like, it was like 3-ish stars, you know, somewhere around that, maybe 3.5 on a good day. So yeah, I was like super sad because everyone just loved that book and it was so hyped. I was like, but I didn't love it. And honestly, I was like more upset about the fact that I didn't love it than that I was upset with the book.
That one's on my shelves right now. I'm borrowing it from a friend and family member, and I want to get to it because I want to return the book and be nice about it. But also, I'm like, oh god, people have such strong feelings about this book. I don't know how it's gonna go.
See, I didn't really have any strong feelings, and that is why I was so disappointed. Like for me, there's like this one character that shouldn't have been in it. For me, it would have made it a whole lot better if that character wasn't in it, honestly. But I'm definitely a minority in that sense. But like I have this is all Victoria Schwab right here. This entire shelf. I mean, I think are they still? Yeah, this is from here on. That way is all The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I have like 6 editions.
Oh,
Oops.
wow.
But I'm like always like, I just prefer to buy them from the stores itself than have to, hunt them down afterwards, because you're going to be spending so much more money if you, want to get them afterwards.
Yeah.
And I figured like if I don't like them, I can just sell them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Okay, so maybe for people who are new, just quickly tell them what we are reading. I'm not sure. I mean, I saw Charlotte asking what we're reading. I mean, I'm reading. Wow, lighting sucks. There we go.
I won't show the cover, but it's called Aleph the Unseen by let's see. Maybe I will try to scroll to the cover. What am I doing? G. Willow Wilson. That's her name.
Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing someone reading The Forest of Stolen Girls, and that is one that I'm super excited about.
Same.
Like, it's not really what I generally read, because I'm very much like a fantasy science fiction reader, but it really sounds so interesting.
I don't know anything about it. Somebody fill me in.
Let me just.
Yay, Nina.
Hello, I'm back.
Hello.
What did I miss?
Not a whole lot. Just talking about what we thought of the book so far, how much we read, said hi to new people. Talked about how I didn't like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't what I expected it to be.
That. Yeah. I was honestly, I think, mostly disappointed because I expected it to be something else than what it actually was. And that's like the biggest problem, I think. But The Forest of Stolen Girls is about the disappearance of 13 young women, essentially, very short. And some people investigating that. I think it's like a YA thriller or something.
Okay, cool. That's just a genre I don't know enough about. I feel like it's getting really more popular, like YA thrillers and crime, like elements of crime solving and true crime. But I like know nothing about the genre.
Yeah. Goodreads has it listed under historical fiction, mystery, young adult, thriller. So that's what it's listed under. So
Gotcha.
I really wonder if I've ever read like a young adult thriller. Like maybe the only one that comes to mind is The Devouring Grey, but like it was an okay book, but for the reasons of like the author being, well, if you probably know what happened, but I don't want to continue that series at all. Other than that, I don't know if I read any of them. I read a lot of murder mysteries because they're fun, but
I read one which is like way up there, like on the top shelf, so I'm not getting up to grab it, but that was Follow Me Down by Tanya Byrne. And when I first finished it, I really didn't like it. But then when, it actually hit me what had happened, when like I figured it out, I was like, whoa. Like, and I was actually so impressed with that book. But it's an older book. I think it's like it was published in 2014 or something. So, but yeah, that's like I think the only YA thriller I've read. So yeah.
fair. I don't think I've read any, honestly. Also, Nina's doing okay. It's a bit of we have to transition a bit because we now have to do stuff for her lungs and stuff for her diabetes, and I have to, make sure her kidneys are good and her bladder's good. So, yeah, she's old, but she's doing okay. We're making sure that everything's okay. It's going a lot better. At least a lot better than like 2 weeks ago when I thought, she was gone. She was a goner, but she's still going strong. I mean, she's very old, so yeah. Apparently, like the average age for cats is like 12, and she's like 18 right now. So
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
she's ancient, but she's doing fine. She's very shaved everywhere, but from like drawing blood and all the tests. But yeah. Also, if you hear meowing, that's me. That's Coda. You cannot go in. She's not a big fan of other cats, so yeah. How did you guys go? You probably already told people this, but how did you guys enjoying the books that you're reading? Because I missed all of that.
I'm really liking mine so far. I only got like 24 pages in, so about prologue and first chapter. And the world building's really interesting, and I'm not sure how I feel about the main character yet, because the one scene that I did read, he's like, you know about him going in because it's in the synopsis that he's in love with this woman who won't marry him because of like class and cultural differences, and she's engaged to somebody else. So like the first chapter, he gets like a little aggressive with her, like he punches a wall near her, and for me, I'm like, you're supposed to be my protagonist. I don't respond well to violence like that, my dude. Like we're starting off on the wrong foot, but I'm also not sure that we're supposed to identify with him really strongly, because he's like a hacker who kind of protects people regardless of their needs. He's not like a white hat, a noble hacker. He considers himself a gray hat, so kind of like striding moral boundaries. So I don't think we're supposed to like hardcore align with him, but I'm already kind of on my heels about it.
Well, kind of iffy.
Yeah.
I think it's there's other ways to show that he may not be the most likable character, I think.
Yeah, and so for me, that one's a struggle, and I'm gonna see how I feel about it before I DNF. But that to me, especially because I'm really open about this, but like I've had that happen to me before, and it's just like very triggering for me to read a scene like that, because it's just like, oh, I've been in a bad relationship where things like that happen, and it's so unhealthy and toxic, and it's hard for me to try to identify with a person who would take that kind of action.
Yeah, I would definitely get that, but make sure that you're, comfortable with what you're reading. Otherwise,
sure.
just, DNF
just get rid of it. Yeah,
get rid of it.
Yeah, so far it's just been like that one scene, and I'm like willing to see how it progresses. But I do think the world building is really interesting, and the magic system in it, because that was my prompt for this readathon, was to read a book with some kind of magic in it. And so you see a little bit of the magic in the prologue, where this old man has like captured a djinn and is trying to get it to reveal its secrets, and then you get cut to like the 21st century version of this totally new man, and so I'm interested to see how those storylines connect.
Yeah. Kind of like a sort of time hop thing.
Yeah, I love a good time hop.
How are you enjoying yours, Mollie?
It's okay. Like, I'm already like a quarter of the way through. Like, it's really short. It's 220 pages. And I'm already 60 pages in because like the writing's huge. So like it's okay, but I don't know. I don't have strong feelings.
So it's a kind of a neutral thing. When I don't have strong feelings, it's like I don't love it, but I also don't hate it.
Yeah, like it's fine. It's just it's fine.
Sounds like a 3-star so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, like mediocre. It's okay. It's not great. It's not. Well, hopefully it gets mind blowing, which is always we always hope for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a surprise that I'm loving mine because it's a reread for me. I don't think I mentioned that, but The Assassin's Curse is a reread for me. I think it's the 3rd time I'm reading this. Usually, this is the moment that Femke says, "Yeah, it's the 3rd time." She knows better what I read.
Actually, I mean, it's my 2nd time, but you definitely read it more often, but I'm not sure whether it's 3 or 4 times. I mean, I love for the Wrath of Dawn, to be honest. I mean, what are you, like 7, 8? What is it?
Yeah, something like that. It's like a bi-monthly thing at this point. It's like it's getting out of hand. But it's fine.
Yeah, I'm having the same issue so far I had the first time. Like, it's written very much in like a Southern American style with like, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got no time for that. Those kinds of things is like literally written that way, and it's bothering my, English major self. So
Maybe
I don't know.
it's bothering me too, but it doesn't bother me at all.
No, that's fair. I mean, I gave it 4 stars the first time I read it, but I'm not sure. I mean, I like the story and how it's progressing. It's just mostly the writing that just keeps pulling me out of the story. I just find it jarring, I suppose.
I have the exact opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, like, what are the things that pull you out of reading? Because for me, coming again from like a English major background too, like one of the things they always hammered into us in school was like, don't overuse repetition. Like, watch out if you're using the same words over and over again. So when I find that in writing, sometimes that will completely throw me out, and it's just like that analytical part of my brain can't jump over that anymore, because I was just told so much in school that was bad, and then it's like I hear those professors in my head being like, this is terrible, what are you doing?
For me, I think it's mostly just like, maybe not even like wrong, but like grammatically awkward structures. Like sentences that I really have to read a couple times, like, whoa, like what is this sentence actually saying? For me, and just this kind of stuff, like things using like ain't, but I mean, if it's just in the dialogue, but this is also in the because it's first person. I think it's first person. I honestly have no. Is it
first person?
It's first person.
Yeah,
it's just also like the way she thinks, and for me, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's really personal, but for me, it's kind of jarring. But I do feel it's getting like less as the book progresses. Or I'm just getting used to it.
From what I remember. But for me, like the reason why I'm not as bothered with it, because I mean, I did the same studies as Femke did, it's how we met. So I'm also an English major. But for me, it's like it really feels like it is her dialogue, even though it's like her inner dialogue. So it's not bothering me because it's just the way, like it's more of like an accent thing for me. Then like if it were in the actual writing, then it would put me off. Like one of the biggest things that puts me off, and it's very tiny thing, but people that don't capitalize their eyes, just as in I think, like, and then the eyes not capitalized, that's just that takes me out of things.
I read a book the other day where dialogue wasn't indicated with like quotation marks, but it was just like a dash and then
like an M dash.
And I'm not sure if it's an M dash or an N dash or a hyphen or whatever, but it was just like a dash and then no quotation marks or whatever, and then just like dialogue, and it was just like, I was like, I'm so bothered by this. And honestly, I mean, it's just nitpicky, but
I think this would take me out of a story, but honestly, I don't think I've read any books that have.
Renee Adier has very does this. She has very non-varying sentence lengths, to be honest. She tends to just, at least, I mean, I'm not sure if it was in The Beautiful, but I know that especially in The Wrath of the Dawn, but also Flame in the Mist, that she does this a lot.
Apparently it doesn't bother me then.
It's just generally pretty short sentences. And I'm not saying like use overly long sentences or anything, but I know Renee Adier doesn't vary a whole lot with her sentence lengths in those books.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Missing dialogue marks, like, that's not good. Oh, I really want to read this book now. Someone is just shooting shots at me. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. I think. No, I'm kidding. You're fine. I know a lot of people don't like The Wrath of the Dawn, and I think the reason why I love it so much is not because of the fact that I think the book is like the best thing I've ever read, or because the writing style is the best thing I've ever encountered. It's just the story gripped me so much, and it's really where sort of my love for desert vibe books started. So it's just melancholic for me, I think.
Yeah. I remember also for you that you read this like pretty early on in our reading careers. I mean, let's put it that way. So
shall I Google when I read it the first time, because I think it's like 2016 or something.
yeah, probably. I mean, I think it was like a first year after we met, like after we went to London.
Yeah.
Sometime around that. And then you kept bothering me to read it for like 3 months until I actually did read it.
Yeah, I am like that, but you do that with me so often.
True. Like I feel the same way about Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Like I think if I read it now, like for the first time now, I wouldn't love it as much as I do, but it's just mostly like nostalgia that makes me love it so much, because I just remember how much I loved it the first time I read it.
That's
the first
fair.
time I read The Wrath and the Dawn was in 2016, and I might have miscalculated a bit because I read it for the 9th time yesterday.
Wow. That's love. That's real love right there.
Yeah.
You know, like I think about that. So basically, for those of you who don't know me, what I used to do was I was a college professor. I was a teacher in film and media studies, and so like I used to think about how many times I would rewatch certain movies. But honestly, books are the same way, and I always kept like a mental tally of what movie I had seen the most in theaters, or like what book I've reread the most. And so it sounds like The Wrath and the Dawn is yours, Esmay. I'm trying to think like what my most reread book is. And it's probably Alana the Lioness by Tamora Pierce, like that whole series. Song of the Lioness, that little quartet. Like I've reread that so many times. Like that was my childhood pickup that I just go back to time and again for comfort read.
Yeah. I definitely know which movie I watched the most times. I mean, that's hands down The Mummy.
I was gonna say it's The Mummy, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Mummy's a beautiful film. Like it's pretty damn near perfect, I think. Like it's so good.
Yeah, I love it so much. I mean, it's where my love for Egypt came from, basically. I love that movie. I still love that movie, and I don't think I will never love that movie. I don't even know what I'm saying, but
it's basically me with The Wrath and the Dawn is you and The Mummy and like Egypt in general.
Basically, I want to go back when travel is allowed again. I want to go back
soon. What about you, Molly? Do you reread books in general?
I used to way more than I do now. Like since starting BookTube, for sure, my like rereading has like gone down dramatically. But there's certainly ones that I do intend to reread. But then the other half of my brain's like, I think it's the ADHD. Like part of me wants to, but then the other part of my brain's like, no, I have to read something else. Otherwise, you're gonna feel guilty for rereading.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
If I had to pick a book to reread right now, okay, it would be 3. It'd be either House of Earth and Blood, The Bone Season, or Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, I think.
Are you doing BuzzWordathon at all, Molly?
No, I'm not.
But this month you could justify any of those because it's House or Home is the month theme.
I know.
Do it.
Yeah, for me, my most reread book is probably this one. This series in general, like the first 4 books, because I would just reread the entire series when a new one came out, and at one point they like published 2 books a year in this series, and it's like we're currently at like 13, I want to say. So, and I started this when the first 4 were out, so I mean that's basically how many times I reread it.
I mean, they're short though.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. This is urban fantasy. I mean, it's not very good, but I just find them so enjoyable. It's just like basically like a guilty pleasure, you know, when you know something's not particularly good, but you still enjoy it so much.
Yeah, I just realized, well, it's a thing I've realized more and more, but every single time I pick up an urban fantasy, it leaves me disappointed. And I think it's just not a genre that's for me. I don't know. I was so excited for Legendborn, and then I finally got into it, and I just didn't like it. Not because it's a bad book, but I just feel like it's not for me. And I feel so bad for not liking it because the book is amazing. It's just I'm the problem here. It's yeah. Do you guys have that with certain like genres as well, or is it just me?
It's not just you. I am really hit or miss with something like magical realism, for example. Like I will get really invested in like what is it? I think it's The Name of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón is a beautiful magical realism book. Pet by Kweke Emezi, beautiful magical realism book. And then others, I'll read it and just be like, I don't understand what this genre is trying to do. I'm not here for it. You know, it's just like so hot and cold. And that's what I get really confused by, because it's like, I think as a person, I tend to be an all or nothing kind of human. So when I feel hot and cold about something, I get really confused because I'm like, wait, what are my actual feelings? I don't understand.
Yeah.
You change like every single minute where you're like, I love it. No, I don't. I love it. Do I?
Yeah. So I think
Yeah, I
that's
know
the
that.
genre that I like want to love, but don't know how I actually feel.
I mean, that's fair.
I think for me, it's probably something like contemporary romance, because I'll just be invested until the main characters get together, like enemies to lovers for me. And then afterwards, I'm just like, meh. And then it'll like 99 out of 100 books will be like 3 stars, because it was like, I liked it up until that point, and then it just went like, meh. And I know this, and it's always the same, but I keep reading it.
Yep.
And I don't know why, because I know what's going to happen.
Aw, I never read them, so that's probably why. Can I just say that Howl's Moving Castle, the book itself, is also really good. Like, the movie is great, but the book is also really, really nice. I love that movie. It's just so cute. I feel like I don't read enough sci-fi to justify what I think about sci-fi.
I realize
don't-
that I don't super love books set in space. Like I have struggled with the space setting, and sometimes there are exceptions to that rule, but then other times that premise will completely turn me off too, where I'm like, oh, there's just something about the setting that I struggle to get into, and I have no idea what it is. But I feel you, Jordan.
I like science fiction as long as it's not too science-y. Because sometimes you get like entire descriptions of what, you know, the spaceship looks like in terms of like aerodynamic designs or whatever, and I'll be just like, question mark? Like, I'm an English major, like not a physics major. I don't get what you're saying. I'm not following. You lost me.
I'm gonna look up. I'm looking up the Forever Sea right now because Sapphic Magic Pirate sounds
amazing.
fantastic.
Right?
Okay. I mean, this is what live shows are, right? We're all gonna add things to our
Screenshot and
TBRs
send
now.
it to me because I'm on my phone, so I can't get off it.
I can send it to you.
Yeah.
I'll send it via Twitter. You can. I'll send you a link.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. If I can start, actually.
Oh my gosh, I'm adding this to my wish list. Thanks for the rec.
But even the cover is beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Or is that just me? I'm
No.
loving the cover.
I think I'm a sucker for anything with like sunrise or sunset looking things in the cover, like something about that lighting
Wait, where's my phone? There's my phone. I want to show you guys, but I can't do that on my laptop.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm loving the chat and the comments because I feel like I am getting a lot of positive hype and recommendations for things between the two.
I'm looking up the cover. It's just not going very fast.
I also appreciate this because I feel like I'm very slow in terms of keeping up with recent releases, despite the fact that I'm part of this amazing community that's really plugged into releases. I'm always just like, oh yeah, that came out, but the Forever Sea was not on my radar at all. So I really can't thank you enough for using the key phrase Sapphic Magic Pirates, because now I'm hooked.
This is the cover, by the way. So, can you see it?
Ooh,
Wait, that way.
that looks fun.
It looks so cool. It also looks like they're sort of, I don't know, instead of like a boat being on the sea, it's like they're on grass or something. I don't know. Really cool. In any case, good recommendation. Is there a sequel to Howl's Moving Castle? How do I not know this?
Yeah, I think there's a few books.
Oh, okay. We're looking up more books. Also, if anybody has any more desert vibe recommendations that you think I might not know, keep them coming.
Oops. Sorry.
What is it about? Maybe you've already answered this before because I know you've done DesertAthon for a while, but like, what is it about desert books that draws you in? Because you've said some of your favorites are just desert books. Like, what is it that keeps you coming back to the space?
I think for the most part, it's how rich the culture is. So when looking at, well, anything set in like an Arabian setting, say, well, I'm gonna name them again, but if you look at the City of Brass, the way in which the world is built, like just in general, the culture and the history is so rich, and I just love it. Also, I just love the idea of like people and like Zulfikars, and I don't know, it's very foreign to me as well, which is why I love it so much as well, I think. I don't know.
I was just curious because I think it's like a really strong premise for something. Like it's really clear when you say that you like desert vibes books, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not something that I would have come up with or thought to put together because I just have never connected those dots before. So I was really curious where you were coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's mostly that. Also, I feel like a lot of the characters in Desert Vibe books, especially the female protagonists, are very strong characters. And I really like a book with a good female protagonist because we need feminism in our life. And I just love when, they don't take anything and they just go for what they believe in. And I think my favorite protagonists are those that go after what they believe in instead of just following what sort of their male counterpart wants. I don't know. It just makes me very happy.
No, I understand that. Like I read a lot of books with like independent, strong-willed female or femme protagonists. Like that just it's I don't want to say it's like a fantasy because I'd like to think of myself as the kind of person who's independent and strong-willed and all of that, but it's like there's something very empowering about reading those kind of books, and so it's just it's like fueling your own fire, I guess is the way I would want to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way, right? I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the main I think that's the main reason. Also, maybe that's part of it as well, but I think about like 95% of the Desert Vibe books that I've read have all been 4 or 5 stars. So I think that's also I have a very high expectation of them, and usually they rarely put me down. So that's also good.
I'm trying to think of a Desert Vibe book that you didn't rate like 4 or 5 stars.
I
And the
rated
other
one
one was
too.
like Girl Serpent Thorn, I'm thinking of.
Well, that one was still 3 stars, I think, but I actually rated The Candle in the Flame 2 stars
Right,
last
yeah.
year. That one wasn't yeah, there were certain things in that book, especially the way in which the main character was handled, because she has to change in order to become like a strong female protagonist, which is something that I don't like. And also they treated like love and relationships as if it was like a toxic and like negative thing. And I feel like love and relationship, not just romantic relationships, but relationships in general, make people stronger. So yeah, I wasn't biggest fan of that one. But other than that, I think most of them are like 4 or 5 stars. Yeah, I'm also adding, I'm adding this one to my list as well. Also, one that is on my list is Dune, but that is so big and so threatening to me.
Yeah, I
It's
nearly
huge.
picked it up when I visited the bookstore again for the first time the other day, but then I was like, do I want to commit something this big? Because the last time I did, it didn't end well because I tried reading The Wheel of Time, The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. We didn't get along at all.
I know there's a movie that's coming out
Yeah,
about
I'm so
Dune.
excited for that one, but it was just so slow. Like any slower, it would have gone backward.
Yeah. There's a part of me that like wants to see the movie first to see if I can get invested. I know that's a very unconventional opinion among hardcore book readers, but for me it's like I would rather enjoy the movie for its own thing, and if I'm curious enough about the story, like I know the book's going to have more detail, more world building, more stuff, so it would still be like a fresh, interesting experience for me.
Yeah, I have that with a lot of like book to movie adaptations. Like I tend to just see the movies as something separate because, I mean, for me, they almost never live up to the expectations. Like if I really compare the book and the movie, because like to be fair, a movie's like what, 2 hours, 2.5, maybe if it's a long one.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one. Thank you.
Also, in this sense, I'm also glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
And Femke, it's like you're not the only one who's hello, laptop, can we work, please? There we go.
yeah.
You're not the only one who's struggling with it.
I think I actually got to like page 350 or something, but then I couldn't take it anymore. I was so bored. And
My partner Jeremy just started it last night, so we're gonna see how he feels about it, because he's like a big Sanderson reader. Like he reads a ton of like Sanderson, Pat Rothfuss, authors like that. So I'm curious how he's gonna handle Wheel of Time.
Yeah, for me, like I don't mind slow-paced books, but this was like slow for even for slow-paced books, in my opinion. Like I hardly ever DNF books. Like I have to really hate a book to DNF it. So the fact that I DNF'd it, I think, says enough. Just it really wasn't for me.
That said, though, we've been talking for quite a bit. Do we want to do another sprint? Also, Mollie, you still okay? Because you mentioned you wanted to pop off at about an hour, and I mean, you're still here.
Yeah, I was gonna head off if actually that's okay. I was just messaging the
Yeah,
chat.
of course. Yeah.
But thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here, despite having a pretty shitty day.
It's okay. I feel.
Thank you so much.
No, have a great time, everyone.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. I send you that link over Twitter so you can check it out.
Yeah. All right, love you lots. Bye.
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 Okay, so we want to do. Do we want to do like 30 minutes again?
Sure.
Or do we
Give
want
me enough time to eat the other half of my pizza.
Oh no, it's gone cold by now.
No, just pop it in the oven. It's fine.
Okay. In any case, I'll then pull up the timer. I will try to put on sound now so that we don't keep reading. Well, that's good, but no. There we go. 30 minutes. I'll see you guys in 30 minutes. I'm guessing you guys didn't hear the bell. I heard a bell, so I'll see if I can do it next time. So you guys can hear a bell.
Okay, so I'm just going to really quickly finish this chapter because I have like 5 of these iPad pages left. So I'll be right there. Just give me a second.
You quickly finish them. How far are you into the book now? Is it a bit better?
Oh, me, yeah. I got about another 25 pages, so I'm now 50 pages in. I still can't get a read on our main character that we know as Aleph. But it's interesting, like the tech aspect of the story is really interesting, and I'm hopeful that it will get better, because like I think the starting point is this like borderline obsession with his potential love interest, but I think that's like just the jumping off point for the story, and hopefully not the whole thing. But the writing is really interesting. I'm just still not sure about the character.
It feels a lot like you from Caroline Kepnes, or at least the sort of borderline obsessedness of it.
Yeah, I haven't read that, and like will not. It's one of those books that I just know I'll never read because it's just the premise is too much for me.
Yeah. I read it after I finished the first season of the show, and I didn't like it. It wasn't like, it was too triggering. So I can definitely get not wanting to go into that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't if I were you.
No, I think I'm probably safe without that one. What about you? How far did you get?
I mean, it's e-reader pages, but I'm currently on page 100 of 188, so I'm pretty far into it, and I am still loving it. Basically, like, the premise of this book is, like, we follow our main protagonist, Anana. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And she has to marry one of these, like, Confederate pirates. That's, like, next to her parents' sort of Confederate pirate family. And then she just runs away because she doesn't want to. And they send, like, an assassin kind of djinn type person after her. And in a sort of twist of fate, she curses him, and he actually has to protect her instead of kill her. And it's just, their dialogue is so funny, and it's just I just love how sassy both of them are, and it's just I love it. It's also very fast paced, which I really, really enjoy. So yeah, I'm having a blast, and I think I will be able to finish it tonight somewhere. I actually just saw that Charlotte's also starting it, because we basically, us three, like Charlotte, Femke, and me, we decided to reread it because we've all read it before and we think it's highly underrated. And I'm just having so much fun.
Good.
Did you finish a chapter, Femke?
Yeah, yes, I did. I'm now at chapter 11. I read about 35 pages during this sprint.
Nice.
So, like, just over half. So I think you're just a little bit further ahead than I am.
Yeah, but I started a bit earlier, I think, than you did.
I started this afternoon. Like 12:30, because I finished Ember in the Ashes at 12:20.
Yeah, I was listening to most of my audiobook this morning, so I wasn't really reading. So I don't know. I love this one so far. Really, really excited. It's just such a fun story. And the worst thing is that I actually have to wait to continue the second book because I'm also reading that at the end of the month, and I don't know if I can wait. I just want to pick up the sequel, just continue, but you know.
Yeah, from what I remember, the first one ends on a really not really a cliffhanger, like an emotional cliffhanger from what I remember. But it's been a while, so.
I don't remember.
No, I remember so little. I had the same with An Ember in the Ashes. I read that, I don't know, 2017 or something, I guess. And I just reread it again, and I was like, I thought this happened in book 2, but apparently it happened in book 1, so.
Yeah, I feel like I've forgotten most of An Ember in the Ashes in general. which is
Yeah.
why I'm rereading them, because the fourth book I haven't read. And with some books, you can just go in and they will sort of go over it again. You'll be fine. But I feel like with An Ember in the Ashes, it's just it doesn't work. There's just so much in the story.
Yeah, because I remember going into the third one without rereading the first two, and especially at the beginning, I was very much lost. And like throughout the book, I really like I understood what was happening and everything, but I just really felt like I was missing so much because I just didn't really remember what happened in the first two.
Yeah, same.
And also because there's such a large gap between the publication of the second and the third one, and then again between the third and the fourth one.
Yeah.
Because it's between the second and the third one is like 2 years, I think. I
Sorry,
mean, online
I'll come back
shopping
to that.
is always good.
Yeah, you finish your point. We'll come back to that. Sorry.
Yeah, and like between the third and
Accidentally clicked.
fourth book, I think it was like 1.5 years or something. Like April, what was it? April 2019, and then December 2020.
Yeah, I think it was a long time. And I was stubborn because I think I waited with reading the third book because I read it around summertime. So that's 2 years ever after having read like the first two. And yeah, I didn't remember most of it. So I think it's only fair that I reread them.
Same. Especially now that I'm rereading them and I just realize how much I don't remember.
Yeah. I also think that I will sort of be excited about them again because I know that I love them. It's just been so long that you sort of fall out of love, if that makes sense. And now I feel like when I'll reread it, I'll just be all over that again.
Yeah, for me it was also the fact that there was so much time between publications, and then she changed the covers midway through the series, and then it was basically impossible to get a matching hardback set, and that just all those little things just really made me not very excited for the final book.
Okay, I'll go back to Anya's. I want to know what you shopped.
Me too. I saw that and was like, I need to know.
Yeah. Is it books? Is it anything other, like self-care, because we need to be nice to ourselves?
Yes.
I'm curious. Let us know what you bought or what you're looking at, either way. I hope you're enjoying Unravel Me a lot more than I was. They're at least very fast. You can read them very quickly, but I don't even know why I read all 3 that were out at that point because I don't like them at all.
I remember that was when BookTubeathon was still a thing, and you read all 3 of them in like a week, in like three or 4 days or so. And I remember you texting me like, I am in a reading slump now.
Yeah, they put me in a reading slump
so much.
Curious question, by the way. I'm wondering, what puts you in a reading slump? Either really good books or really like bad books for you personally? I'm curious.
Really bad books make me mad. Like I think you remember my reaction to Zoo by James Price.
I remember.
Like if I think back, I get so mad. Like I hated that book so much. So I think for me, it's mostly the feeling of a really good book and like feeling like you'll never be able to find a book that's as good as that one again.
Yeah, I think for me it could be both. Like, 'cause I've had some times where it's almost like a bad book invites other bad books into my life, or maybe my just mentality switches to feeling super negative about things. And so then everything I read feels like it's just off. But then on the flip side, the same is true of like a really good book. Like after I read House of Earth and Blood, which just made me sob, and I loved that book so much. I literally didn't read anything for about a week after because I just thought like I need this book to do whatever witchcraft it's doing in my mind and like finish before I can move on.
Yeah. I know that feeling. I think for me it's mostly bad books because with really, really good books, I just immediately go into the next one. Otherwise, I know that I'm going to have a reading slump. I just know it because I'll be stuck in that world even though it's over, and it's just...
For me, I think it's also reading a number of like average books like after each other, like when nothing really stands out either way, when you just have, I don't know, 5 or 6 3-star books which are like fine but didn't really do it for me. I think for me that's also kind of,
Yeah.
well, off-putting is like a too negative of a word, but I mean, I had the same. I was reading Gideon the Ninth, and I could just feel like I wasn't hating it, but it's such a particular writing style that I could just feel that it was putting me in a reading slump because it's just not something I'm in the right mind space for at the moment. So I just put it aside for now because like I am excited for it and I'm really curious what's going to happen, but it was just, yeah, not the right book for me at that time.
Yeah, I have that a lot. I'm not sure, by the way, if this question was for me or for any one of us, but for me, like I only have 4 books on there for now because I'm gonna then roll as I go. But counting out the fact that I'm doing 2 rereads, the one I'm most excited for is Mahimata, which is the sequel to Markswoman. I love Markswoman, 5 stars for me, so I hope that this one, which is the conclusion to the duology, will be just as good. But I don't have a lot to pick from because there's 2 rereads and then one I am definitely unsure about and I'm nearly done with. So
Yeah.
like there's not a lot to pick from, but I'll come back to that. What about you? I mean, I think Caitlin has only done 1 roll so far, so
Yeah, I'm gonna do the roll as a go mode because I have another like TBR game that I need to try to complete and squeeze things in. So if I can make it work by challenge, then I'm gonna make that happen. But I had to track down what I'm reading today to fit the prompt. So I'm curious about where DesertAthon is gonna take me, I guess more than anything else.
yeah. What about you, Femke? I have an idea, but
I think for me, I mean, there's like 2 different options. On the one hand, We Free the Stars, because I really loved We Hunt the Flame, and We Free the Stars is one of my most anticipated releases. But on the other hand, I'm also really excited for Fable by Adrienne Young, because I know Esmay really liked it, and I've been hearing such great things. So like, you know, if we're talking sequels, then definitely We Free the Stars. But then on the other hand, if we're talking like new series, so to speak, then Fable's definitely a contender. But yeah, I'm not sure like which one I think I'll enjoy them. I think I'll enjoy We Free the Stars more in the sense that it will be more emotional for me.
yes, it definitely will be. Yeah. I'm
Because
sorry in advance.
yeah, I fully expect to be crying multiple points throughout the book, essentially. So
Yeah.
and I mean, pain is good, right? At least in this sense, like emotional pain.
I like
Also,
a
I
book
agree.
that lets me cry a little bit.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
I probably should, but I can't. I don't know. I should, but yeah. I
Cover
think
changes
authors and publishers just shouldn't change them, but if they do, change them like they did with Truth Witch, because they changed the covers, but they still match the first ones. Like they're not complete like 100% match, but it's not off-putting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's especially like the style of illustration is different, but then if you line them up, the spines still match. Like they still have like the same designs on them essentially. So if you put them next to each other, it doesn't really stand out that they're different.
Yeah.
But yeah, like cover changes is the reason I buy expensive editions of books, essentially.
Yeah, they're brutal. I mean, I love book covers and really think the people who put all that time and effort into graphic design are awesome. And so I always feel kind of guilty when I'm like, oh, I hate this cover, because I feel weirdly bad about the fact that like I'm dissing somebody's career or work, but at the same time it matters so much to me as a reader. It absolutely makes or breaks whether or not I will pick a book up and when.
Yeah, for me, it's just talking about An Ember in the Ashes again, because they changed those covers halfway through, and I really, really hate the US covers, like with the Fiery Passion, because I just don't like people on the cover. And I mean, I get what they tried to do, that they wanted more people of color on the cover, and I respect that, and I'm all for that, but I personally much more prefer the UK covers, but then they proceeded to publish like the first and the second only in paperback, and then the third and the fourth like in hardback, and then later in paperback. So there's just no way to get a complete matching set of hardbacks unless you get the Fairy Loot editions.
Yeah, that's tricky. I will say that I sometimes snoop around on places that will ship internationally because I generally think other countries' covers are like more attractive to me. There's a few exceptions to that, but like if I like when I can travel again, I always like to look for book covers and different things like that because I like a lot of what's available in the US, but sometimes I just think the UK editions in particular just speak to me more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found out that Michaela Aquino, I think that's how you pronounce it, has essentially designed all my favorite covers. So I think it's mostly like her particular style that I like.
Interesting.
Which, I mean,
That's curious research.
She did these covers as well for An Ember in the Ashes. And she did the UK City of Brass as well. So it's just like that style.
A jigsaw puzzle is a good thing to do though.
Yeah.
Jigsaw puzzles are fun.
Especially during the current state of affairs we find ourselves in. I found myself doing a lot more puzzles than I used to, but they're fun.
I actually bought a diamond painting, and I said I would never do that in my life. I haven't started it yet, but I bought one, and it's just, I am so excited for it. It has like birds on it, and it's just so cool. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, if I can give you one piece of advice, I would say DNF it, but I mean, everybody enjoys books differently. I didn't like them personally, and I will never pick them up again, but I was hoping would like them more than me.
And the reason Esmay, like the reason I'm not reading them is because Esmay hated them, and our reading tastes tend to be very much the same most of the time, if like not nearly all of the time.
Yeah. That is a good point, actually.
I mean, that was me with Shadow and Bone last week.
I haven't finished it yet. I need to watch the last two episodes, but I haven't yet. I don't want it to end.
I was gonna say don't say too much because I haven't watched it yet. I've read all the books, but haven't watched the series yet.
I will say nothing. The only thing I will say, which is definitely not a spoiler, it's just my feeling about it, is I want Ben Barnes.
Yes.
After Darkling. Like yes. That's the only thing I will say.
Oh, he was like a big fan cast, right?
Yeah. And one more thing, Jasper is perfection.
Yeah.
He is amazing. Like it's like the actor is actually like Jasper's actually playing. I don't remember the actor's name, but Jasper's playing him, and it's not the other way around. Like that's how well.
It's like the actor Kid Young is Jasper, but I feel Inaj was cast really well too.
Yeah. Same goes for Nina and Matthias, I think.
Yeah, I have to say I like Jessie Lee as Alina as well. I mean, even though it's not how she was in the books, I just love Jessie Lee, to be honest. And can we just say, I do not understand how Ben Barnes is 39, maybe even 40 at this point. I do not get it. What? I'm sorry. He is.
Is that true?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. No.
I'm just. He could be 29.
He's 39.
29, and I'd still say, yes, I believe you. How is he 39? I don't get it.
In that case, I'm 12.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay, so can you do Liz's comment?
Yeah, coming up. Sorry, I was Googling.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so it covers Shadow and Bone, the first book of the Grisha trilogy, but then it also covers like the backstory of the characters of Six of Crows, the spin-off duology. So I would definitely recommend reading that one as well, because there are some parts that are literally in the books that are also used in the show. So,
though I feel like there are inconsistencies here, because from what I remember, it's not a spoiler, by the way. I'm not going to spoil anyone, but from what I remember, Inej actually says that she never met Alina.
No, true.
Yeah. they're in the same universe in this show, so it's only fair that they see each other. So there's a bit of difference definitely between the show.
They changed the timelines, but it's just like Nina and Matthias's backstory, like that is literally in the books.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a spoiler for Six of Crows, though not like the actual plot line of Six of Crows. But
I would then if you want to read the books before you watch the show, I would then read the first season, and I think you would be good.
Yeah, there's nothing of the second season in there. It's just the season book. It's just the first book.
Also, has anyone here also read King of Scars? I haven't read it yet, but I'm curious what other people think, because I know what you think. But I'm so curious because I keep hearing so many mixed reviews, and especially having heard what Femke thinks, I think I might not enjoy it as much as I did all the other Grisha books.
Spoiler alert, I didn't love it. I gave it 2 stars.
Wow.
Which is why I'm scared.
To be honest, I think I might reread it for Rule of Wolves. Now, because I also think it's my expectations that were wrong, so I think having the right expectations might make it more enjoyable for me. Regardless, I don't think I'll love it. But still, I think I may love it more. But that said, I do not want to start Rule of Wolves because I saw spoilers, and those spoilers were really not okay.
Please don't
Obviously
tell me.
not going to tell them here, but so it might be a while.
Have you read not all of the Grisha books, because you said you didn't read King of Scars, but have you read Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows, Caitlin?
I've read the original Grisha trilogy, but I haven't read Six of Crows yet. It's one that I definitely want to get to because I love a good heist or crime oriented story. Those are the best. So I've heard nothing but good things about Six of Crows and the duology itself. But haven't gotten around to that one yet.
I can definitely recommend it. I love it very much. Amazing. Also, fun fact, she was actually not nicknamed after Nina Zunic from Six of Crows, but my cat's named Nina, so
Aww.
I have personal connection.
That always helps.
Yes, definitely. I see someone. I agree with this. Honestly.
Yeah.
I have to say,
better character.
I just felt like for a book about Nikolai, there was surprisingly little Nikolai in it, to be honest.
That's sad though. It's very sad. Yeah, I'm really debating whether I should reread all the Grisha books before I read King of Scars, and I really don't want to do that because it's 5 books and I'll be doing that that will be so long.
Yeah.
But I might have to.
Don't deny yourself.
I think because he comes into play in book 2.
I think
right?
so, yeah.
I think it's book 2.
From what I remember, yeah, I think it's book 2. He's definitely, I love him very
Nikolai
much.
is definitely one of the best characters in the series, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
Yeah. Also, I think this is a very controversial question. What do you think about Mel?
I hate him.
I'll be honest, I hate Book Mal, but they basically took out a lot of his unlikable and toxic traits for the series. I still don't necessarily like him or anything, but I do think he's more likable in the sense that he isn't. No, I'm not going to say that because that's spoilers. Sorry.
No, I feel like maybe I shouldn't say I hate Mal so much as I'm not on board the Mal Alina ship. I'm just not.
No.
I know, and to be clear, I don't ship her with the Darkling either, but
oh, I do. 100%. Yes.
I am maybe just if anything in this equation, maybe I am not an Alina stan in general. Like, I feel like maybe she's the problem in the equation for me. Yeah.
I'll take the Darkling. I don't mind. I can take the Darkling.
I'll just take Ben Barnes in that case. I don't mind.
Yeah.
That's fine too.
Yeah. No, I agree with Sarah. Like, this, it doesn't translate out of Dutch, but I remember calling Mal like a gebakken stoeptegel.
Yeah,
which is
it's like a baked stone.
Like a fried stone or something. Like, no personality. Just.
I still think if I would look back in because fun fact, usually when I read a book that I'm absolutely obsessed with, I force Femke to read it or vice versa. And Shadow and Bone was the same situation because I was reading Shadow and Bone and then I was like, Femke, read it, it's really good. And then I think I was on book 3 and Femke was on book 1 and I was sobbing my eyes out right next to her. And she was sitting there reading the first book, and we were just she kept on asking me like, "What is happening?" I was like, "Just keep reading."
I was so mad at you for putting me through that. I was so mad.
I still haven't forgiven myself. It's just
Yeah, I remember you going like, Femke, read it. It's such a good book. And then by the third one, she's sitting next to me. She was just like sobbing.
I was full blown. Also, biggest thing I can ever tell you about any book you read, if something happens, don't put it down and stop for 15 minutes. Because this happens to me so often. I remember reading The Wrath and the Dawn for the first time, and I was the second one, The Rose and the Dagger. I remember messaging Femke going, "No!" And then I started sobbing for 15 full minutes, and Femke hadn't read my messages yet. And then I actually picked up the book again because I wasn't done with it yet. And then I continued reading after having cried for 15 minutes, like full. And I remember texting back, "Okay, it's fine, never mind." And I do that every single time. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, that was a thing. But to be fair, if you look through our like message history and like the number of times we just said no at each other and those kinds of things, I mean,
the funniest thing is that this is usually at like 3 a.m. and then usually we respond within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, at least you have a late night reading friend, you know, like you have somebody that's likely to answer your texts at 3 a.m. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was just a couple of weeks ago. I didn't even remember what we were reading, but I just texted her and was like, "I'm not okay." And she was like, "No, me neither." And we were just reading 2 entirely separate books, and it was like 3:30 in the morning or something. And it was just...
Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, this is why we're the bookish buddies. This is why this is us.
It's so sweet. I love it so much.
Wait,
I mean,
is this
fair? I think this is about Mal.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Because
yeah,
I'm pretty sure Nikolai's not in the first book, and Mal's not that much. I mean, he's there when, like, in the beginning, and then he shows up at some point. But
I was thinking this was about King of Scars, but I think it's about Shadow and Bone.
Yeah.
Also, I'm wondering, is this the Language of Thorns?
Yes, and yes,
I have read it twice because I have issues apparently. I reread too often. I should really make that a priority to not reread, and then have the exception of The Wrath and the Dawn because I'm still me.
To be honest, I haven't reread as much as I'm doing now because I'm currently rereading Shadow and Bone. I'm currently rereading An Ember in the Ashes. I'm rereading Blood and Sea, and I don't think I've ever reread this much in this short span of time. But
I'm kind of feeling like listening to you talk about how you reread things. I feel like maybe I just need to make space in my TBR for like always having a reread slot open because I really do love rereading. And I know Mollie kind of touched on this before she had to go, where she was like, BookTube has kind of cut down on my rereading because I feel guilty about not keeping up with new books, not providing like new reviews or content or anything like that. But
Yes.
I love rereading too. So maybe I should just like make more active space for that in my thought process.
Yeah, I should do that too because I only tend to reread books I know I can finish quickly. And that makes absolutely no sense, but it's for the same reason as Mollie also mentioned, because I feel bad if I take away precious of my like vlogging time or like month time to read a book I've already read before and just gush about it again. People going, we know you love this book. Just shut up about it.
Yeah.
Read something new. Because I would love to reread The City of Brass, but I know that's going to take me a while because it's huge.
Shall we do a City of Brassathon? Or a City of Brassalong?
Should we? I mean, it might be a good plan to first finish the An Ember in the Ash along.
Yeah, but at some point in the future, because I was wanting to reread them as well, but like they're kind of chunky.
Yeah,
they're chunky.
I've never read them before, so if you did, I would use that as my excuse to like read them for the first time.
They're so good though. Like they're not super fast paced, but I think in this case it's not the worst because I mean you get a lot of world building and history and lore and those kinds of things.
Okay.
But I recommend them wholeheartedly.
Ooh,
and I say they're not very fast paced, but that was when I still had a boyfriend and I was over at his place and I just spent the entire night reading and I was like, no, go away, I'm reading.
I think you read it first, and I think you basically meant like this was the point where Femke went, Esmay, here's my book, read it now, otherwise we're no longer friends. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then I was like, it's slow. What do I do? I just keep reading. Okay, I'll keep reading. And then once again at 4 a.m. I was like, I'm finished. What do I do now?
Okay, you were right, but I'm kind of mad about it.
Yeah. Also, I think if this is about Shadow and Bone, I would say read the first book, as in the first book about Shadow and Bone first, but I'm not sure if you're talking about Shadow and Bone. So please let me know if that was about Shadow and Bone.
I think it depends on what you want. If you're going to compare the books and the television show incessantly, I don't think you should read the book because I think the TV show is great, but not if you're going to compare it to the books in the entire time, because there are a lot of differences that I do think make sense in like what they've done with the show. But I mean, it depends on what you want, honestly. For understanding the world, I would probably recommend reading the books first, or at least the first one, because I do think the television show is a bit lacking in explaining how everything works.
Yeah, it was about Shadow and Bone. Yeah, I would, like if you only want to read one book before the show, I would definitely say go for the actual Shadow and Bone. Like you could get away with not reading Six of Crows because I feel like it is only their backstories a bit.
Yeah,
it's not even like the only backstory that is excessive. I feel like is Nina and Inej and Nina and Matthias and Inej to a certain degree. I'm not sure if we get more on Kaz though. I haven't seen the last two, so last two episodes.
No, you're not.
So I like you can get away with not reading Six of Crows, but I would if you want to read most of the story before you watch the TV show, then definitely watch read the first Shadow and Bone book. Mind is blown.
It's getting late here. We're starting to talk nonsense.
I mean, I always talk nonsense. I just try not to.
Same.
Well, keeping that time in mind, do you want to try to get another sprint in, or should we just kind of like start to wrap things maybe? What do you think?
I mean, it's only 9:30, so definitely fine on that aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you guys up for?
Okay.
We can definitely do another sprint. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I'm good with another sprint.
Sure. Shall we just do another 30 minutes? Do we want to do it shorter, longer, etc.?
How are your chapter lengths? I guess is the better question. Like, do you...
I mean, I have no idea. I stopped somewhere mid-chapter, but I don't mind because I've already read it, so...
True.
Look, I don't handle stopping mid-chapter well, like, at all.
You can just take a couple more minutes or whatever.
But it happened like with both sprints, like just like a few pages shy of the end, and I was like, this time I was like, oh no, this is not happening again. I'm finishing it now.
Sorry.
Uh-oh, I need to like plug in my MacBook. It's telling me that it's gonna go to sleep unless it's plugged in. Hold on.
Oh no.
Well,
We'll
we're
wait for you
losing
to return then.
We're losing you.
Yeah, I think it might happen.
I'll set up the minutes then. I'll just put it on 30. Anybody else feels like it's too long or too short, then just scream at me. All right, share screen. Oh, there's actually a toggle down there that asks you if you want to share the audio with people. Well, let's do that. That way you can actually hear the bell this time.
Bye, Tammy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining. There will be more sprints, so you're always welcome to come back.
I'm just probably going to walk around for a little while because sitting on the floor is hurting my butt.
Why don't you just sit on your bed?
Maybe, but then I have to move everything from my bed back to the floor because I put everything that was on the floor on my bed.
Fair point.
Not sharpest tool in the shed, but.
Oh no. Well, nighttime reading is very good.
Yeah. Especially
But
if you have a nighttime reading buddy.
Yes, we're here being semi, how would you say it? Intelligent? No, that's not the word. Anyway, you know what I mean. You don't know what I mean, but it's fine.
Intelligible?
I think that might be it. In any case, I will start the timer and let's start sprinting.
Yes.
I'm guessing I wasn't the only one who heard a bell this time.
Yep, heard it this time.
I think Femke's still... Oh no, Femke's back.
I was like literally lying on the floor next to my laptop because my butt was sore, so.
You could have just, taken stuff off the bed and, sat down there, but...
Floor's pretty comfy too. It's not that bad.
In any case, how was the reading?
It was fine. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how much I read. Let me check.
Quickly. 3 times the charm, right?
Yeah.
Woohoo!
I think mine was better this time around. We finally got to some action, and the main character is a hacker, and so the government kind of just cracked into his computer, and he is now kind of having to go on the run. So we're getting to some intrigue and action now, so I'm like a little bit more invested.
That sounds interesting, though.
Yeah. I'm still waiting to see how the magic element returns to the modern world, although he did just get a book that I think is a reference to the prologue. So I'm hoping we see some connection points soon.
I'm actually curious because it kind of sounds like a regular sort of, I don't know, world, but then with the, like you said, with the magic in there, sounds interesting. I'm curious how they're going to mix it up.
I am too. I'm really, and it was interesting because the prologue talked a little bit about how the book was being made and how it was written and how the man who was making this book was just trying to capture the stories of the djinn from a captured djinn. And so I'm really hoping to understand. And he talked about how he wanted to code the stories of the djinn. Like he wanted to create a binary based on their tales and crack the secrets of their stories. And that's why he was writing the book. Maybe that's how it connects. Yeah. It's like techno fairy tale. It's really interesting.
Do let me know that by the time that you finish it, though, what you thought of it, because I'm very curious now.
I will. I'm feeling hooked. Like this is a good start. I was a little worried because of some of his behaviors that I mentioned earlier, but I'm kind of able to characterize it, or at least in my head, it's like, okay, so he's not the greatest person, but the story that's happening to him is interesting, and I can roll with that.
Yeah. How much have you read, Femke?
I read about 47 pages, so I got a good chunk done.
Did you finish your chapter this time, or did I?
No. But it's like this time I'm like halfway through the chapter, not like right at the end, but like halfway through. So
I feel like the chapters are pretty long in any case.
Yeah.
They're not like short, quick chapters.
Reasonably. Yeah.
Because I think the book is like 2.5, like 250-ish pages or something along those lines, and there's only like how many chapters? Like 15?
18.
18? Yeah, I don't check. Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah. No, in my edition, the first book is about 241 pages. Like that's weirdly specific, so it's not about. But I think the one Goodreads lists like just the single book is like 288. So I guess it depends on font and margins and that kind of stuff. So formatting, but
yeah, mine says 188. So I have about like.
I always feel like the page numbers on e-readers are like weird.
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
I don't know how to I don't know how to interpret them.
No, because I have that on my Kobo e-reader too. It's like I'll know the book is like, I don't know, 380 pages, and then I'll have the ebook and it'll say 260 pages, and I'll be like, but where's the rest of the book?
Yeah.
But then it'll just be the entire book, so I'm not sure how that formatting works, but it's fine. But yay, go you!
Yay.
That's also good. That means there's time for some reading now.
Yeah, exactly. That's always a good feeling when you've like locked away the last of your essay writing.
Yeah.
that is rewarding, but it's also, I don't know, essays.
Yeah. Get you some side chocolate now and you'll be fine.
Go with your main chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much did you read?
I think I read about like the same like 50-ish pages. I have like 20 pages left, so I'm when we, finish this sprint, I'm just gonna crawl up in bed and finish it. And then be sad that I have to wait because the second book isn't on my TBR yet and I have other things to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, I have about 4.5 chapter left. About a quarter of the book, so I'm like, that's what, 60 pages?
I think
guess.
something along those lines, yeah.
But I mean, it's like an hour's worth of reading, maybe. Probably less.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a quick read, so.
Yeah, exactly. So that probably less. If I do like this a lot, it's because I'm tired and I have contacts and my eyes aren't focusing right now, so I'm just like zooming in to read the comments.
I am doing the exact same thing.
I'm not being weird. It's just like my eyes aren't focusing.
I can't do math at all, so I salute you.
This is pretty clever, actually.
I do this sometimes when I have to, like, in Goodreads, you can see how far you are into with like the progress. And I'm like, I actually have X amount of pages and there's X amount of this pages, and then I try to calculate it approximately because I know like the percentage I'm into the book, and then I sort of put that next to the pages and then see it like that. But I've never done it like this.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm doing now. Because I'm weird. I just read this on ebook while I also have the physical book because I don't know, I'm weird. But
it's also a big book.
Yeah, it's a bit chunky, but I'm reading the ebook and it's just I'm about 75% in, so that's like 75% of 240 is about 180 pages. I mean, give or take.
Yeah, exactly. I do that too. Also, if you hear snoring, it's not me.
Ja, dat zou ik ook zeggen.
Yeah, no, it's Nina. She no longer hears herself, like she's very deaf, so she can't hear herself making noises. So it's either very loud or she looks like a goldfish because she tries to meow and then it basically goes like this and she's like, it's very sad.
Yeah.
This poor cat. I mean, we're okay. As long as you snore, that means you're fine. I think.
Yeah, snoring is a good thing.
Yeah. Did you also move to the floor, or are you still on your bed?
No, I'm on my bed.
Ah.
I'm not sitting on the floor. I haven't moved in about an hour.
I thought the camera angle looked different, but it's probably just me.
Yeah, no, I'm still like I'm sitting. The floor's over there.
Yeah.
Might be me. I mean, yeah. I think it's also reversed. I think. Is it?
Yeah, because it's like, for me, this side is on the other side as I'm seeing on the screen, which is why I want to do this, but that's the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's mirrored.
Yeah. I am definitely gonna do that in a little bit. Oh.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if I take them out, I definitely have to wear glasses because, I mean, my cat's deaf, but I'm blind. Very blind. Otherwise, I'd be sitting like this trying to read it. That won't work.
I mean, I'm not quite as blind as you are, but still, I'd also have to go just like, what is this?
In any case, I think we'll be wrapping up in a little bit because it's nearing 10:30 here, I think. Yeah. And I'm exhausted. I don't know what it is.
She called us a perfect couple. Yay!
Like, we've been saying this for a long time, that we would, like, we sometimes look like we're married, but the thing is, I'm straight, so you're missing certain, manly elements. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we finish each other's sentences. It's very funny. And Femke knows more about me reading certain things than I do, because I'd be talking about things and I'd be like, I read that. I don't know if I read that. And then Femke goes, yeah, you read it.
Yeah, but that's just because I have I have a brain that remembers weirdly specific stuff. And it's almost always useless. But
yeah, or strong lyrics. That's not, I wouldn't say that's useless. In any case, I think we'll be wrapping up in a little bit. Thank you guys so much for joining. Also, thanks to Mollie, who isn't here, but thank you for joining as well. I hope we can do this again soon.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for accepting the invitation. And hopefully, if you want, you can always come back. And I mean, if you're doing sprints, then go ahead. I will join. And yeah.
Awesome.
The next sprint, by the way, is going to be next weekend somewhere for those of you who are watching or wanting to join in another sprint. I am not completely sure from the top of my head if it's Saturday or Sunday and what time, but I will be talking about that a bit more on Twitter. So if you want to know when the next sprint is, I will definitely let you guys know. And yeah, once again, I'm so excited for the month of May. Let's see what we'll all read for DesertAthon and which prompt the board will give us.
Yeah, and I'll probably pop in on the DesertAthon Twitter as well to run some sprints on there. I may make some games if I'm feeling up to it. So if you want sprinting games, come join me. I mean, it'll be at random times whenever I feel compelled to do some sprints. So
she's hijacking my account now. Uh-oh.
Well, you shouldn't have given me the login.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. In any case, thank you guys all so much for joining, and I hope to see you guys in a next reading sprint.
Yay.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Bye.